and you are listening to Pod of Thunder.
I saw some of the social media posts about the podcast the other day, and I don't know if people think that like we shouldn't be taken seriously as far as our personalities here. It's like we're a joke or something.
You can't listen to those guys. The main point is, as long as we know what we're doing, that's all that matters, right, guys?
Yeah, and I think we could do this without being a KISS podcast. I don't think we need to have any sort of attachment to the KISS world at all.
You're crazy. What do you mean not be a KISS podcast? You're nuts.
Chris, we could go without KISS. We can do this without them. We don't need to attach ourselves to anybody else. KISS, no matter how much our listeners love them, I think they'll come back even if we don't do KISS songs anymore.
Do this without KISS? Come on, you're nuts.
Andy, I feel like there's nothing we can't do.
For once in his life, Andy's right. You're nuts.
Chris, I repeat, there's nothing we can't do.
No, I still say you're nuts.
Well, you might be right, but I think I'm going to try to find out who's coming with me.
Telling how far we
Pod of Thunder, the recognized symbol of excellence in rock and roll podcasting. It's your buddy
changing
Andy.
the script up.
Why not? It's your buddy Andy, America's little brother, and I'm joined by Gnarly Nick, the Garlic Dragon, and the breakout star of the podcast medium, everybody's favorite. Put your hands together for Chris L. There he is. Guys, we're back. Who's coming with us? Who came with us? Is there anyone here? Is anyone listening?
There's 3 people here. Who knows who else? But you know, it's a new dawn. We accomplished what we set out to accomplish. So it's either quit or move ahead with something else. I got the sense that people wanted us to do the latter. How about you guys?
I don't think I heard anybody say, well, you guys are done. See you later. Don't forget to write once in a while. We got a lot of positive pre-enforcement, I guess.
And frankly, what else are we going to do? I mean, look at us.
Yeah.
What else are we going to do with our time other than sit on the couch, which we do plenty of?
We are not parlaying the KISS podcast into anything
guys,
drastically different.
I was looking forward to the KISS podcast ending so I could join a rugby league. I don't know about you. No, I'm not doing that. I got nothing else to do.
Yeah, and plus we just, what was it, December 14th, 2 or 3 weeks ago, we finally appeared on Jericho's show.
Yes.
We're going to just cast all that momentum aside, all these new listeners. I mean, yeah, they're binge listening on the old stuff, and that's great. But, people who have been with us since day one and also the binge listeners who are caught up, they want new stuff from us, so they're going to get it. They're getting it right now, assuming they're, in fact, with us. Who knows? We'll look at the numbers.
Yeah, we'll see.
We might wish we hadn't, but we will look at them after a day or two after this comes out.
Yeah.
Well, ultimately, it's something that the 3 of us enjoy doing, so
Yeah.
we're going to keep doing it.
So why not, right?
Yeah. It's not one of those things where I hate my job. I'm 65. Okay, gone.
Yeah, right. Like, I can't wait to retire.
And then something happens. I need supplemental income. So I guess I'll go back and I'll be a consultant now. No, it's not like that.
This is us working at Home Depot after retirement.
About to say,
Us being a
greeter
at Walmart.
Yeah.
They taking out an insurance policy
or a
on
fucking
us.
cashier at an Arby's or something like that. It's like, maybe take a bullet instead. Might be a better,
Yeah.
more dignified way of going about your business.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like one of my worst nightmares, ending up in a situation where I have to do that. It's like, you know what? I'm going to look into other options up to and including what I just described.
Yeah, right. There's a guy who lives down the street from us, from where we are right now. He's got money. He's got property. He's an older dude. And then I saw him working at Home Depot. That's why that was fresh in my head.
Yeah,
I think it was one of those boredom things.
And that's
See, I can't imagine having that problem when I get to that point.
Yeah.
I will figure something out to make myself not bored,
You'll start-
or I will simply enjoy the boredom. Going back to work, fuck that.
And especially that type of work. Not that it's horrible. If that's where you work, we've all done jobs like that. But I'm assuming this guy was successful for a long time at whatever he did and probably called shots for a long time. And then you're just a guy on the floor. Hey, can I help you find something? It's like,
right, and you're going to be bossed around by someone probably half your age.
right.
And no,
It's strange.
not working.
Yeah. Hopefully we save our money. We save all that Pod of Thunder T-shirt money that we've gotten.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn near $400 and I think it's like $70.
Really? That much?
Over the
Damn.
course of all the years.
That's,
No idea.
that's still a surprising amount.
Yeah. Couple bucks for a shirt. It's actually, we sold a lot more shirts than we ever should have.
That's pretty awesome. I've still never seen the random, like, oh my gosh, there's somebody with
when you're outside.
like a person I don't know wearing one.
Wow.
It'll
Guy
probably
over there
never
with the
happen.
"This guy bones his women like a champ" T-shirt.
I don't
If
know.
I had a random sighting like that, that would be the pinnacle.
You would say I made it.
There would be nothing else to. There would be no higher mountain to climb in this life than that.
Yeah.
That's a pierogi fest shirt if ever there was one. I think I'm gonna rock one at next year's.
That's
the best.
That's a
that one should have sold gangbusters, and we probably moved maybe one.
I was gonna say it's for sure single digits.
That's between June and August. Every beer garden you can make it to.
Yeah.
That's the shirt. Because you
Street fair.
You want
garb.
people to be like, "Holy cow! I saw that guy.
He was at the last one.
I saw him at St. Tom's or whatever."
Yeah. And now he's here. He was wearing the same shirt.
Yeah,
be the new version of that guy who used to appear with the rainbow afro wig and like golf galleries. He was always in the background. It's like, there's the guy in the "This Guy Bones His Women Like a Champ" shirt.
You'll be. I mean, there are those guys. You know that. That guy again. I saw it.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot what was the guy's gimmick that our older brother kept seeing some guy that had he had a similar hilarious shirt.
Oh, but he wore it all the time.
And he would see the guy periodically at these things. Yeah,
we'll have to post that one.
Yeah, I don't recall what it was.
was.
Something completely ridiculous, but
It's just funny when you have a shirt like that and you're like, "This is me. This is my uniform, and I'm going to wear it every time I go out now." So people recognize me as the "I boned my women like a champ" guy.
And guaranteed people will, because
Yeah,
I've been part of those conversations.
Yeah, but it's
I've heard. You see that guy's shirt over there?
Yeah,
and then it becomes a thing.
Yeah.
Well, that shirt is definitely a thing-worthy statement. So,
Have you ever had a shirt like that with some kind of phrase on it? It's supposed to be funny or witty or ridiculous, whatever it may be.
I can't think of
I don't
any
think so.
that I've owned. I mean, I've seen ones
Sure.
that I've appreciated.
The closest thing I had to that, I bought a shirt with a picture of Red Fox on it, and it said "You Big Dummy," and I didn't like wearing it for some reason. It was too much of an attention getter.
You also had the Calvert DeForest couch potato workout T-shirt.
That's right.
There's something nobody's probably heard of.
That's right. I had that. Oh, and then I had the Jerk Bullshit T-shirt, which is another. That one counts
that's
too.
Classic.
But yeah, those things sound funny, and then you get one, and you're like, "Oh, people
Can't
keep
wear
pointing it out and asking me, oh, you big dummy. Oh, you big dummy. I love that."
Yeah,
I'd rather just wear a
that's-
plain shirt.
That's the
after a
other
while.
thing. It's like you get pigeonholed and typecast into this thing, and you feel obligated to wear that. No, but nobody wants to be roped into that situation.
No.
Well,
You know, I was actually thinking about that similar situation, and in my social media surfing today, I was going through some posts, and like a picture of Questlove came up, and he's got that fucking afro pic stuck in there. It's like, can you ever not appear with that goddamn thing stuck in your hair?
Can you just buzz his hair and not,
Or just
or just
take
not
it out.
take the pick
And
out?
It's like it's like Slash with the top
Yeah.
hat. It's
It's-
like you are forever attached to that, and it's like you're either obligated or your handlers are telling you, "Oh, you can't not appear with that." It's like, is that something that's desirable? I wouldn't want to end up in that situation.
One that's a lesser degree than those two, but still, I think I was actually thinking about it the other day. I sent Andy a video of just something I thought was kind of a funny moment from a live performance, and it's like the giant, horrible-looking glasses and police captain's hat on Chips Enough. It's like, is that a thing where is that you think the motive behind it, where this is my image?
Absolutely.
This is why people know, oh, there's that guy.
Well, he's got to hold on to that with a death grip because he literally has nothing else going on for him.
Yeah. It's a thing, though. Once you get a gimmick that you're recognized for, if you take it away, your identity's kind of lost.
Yeah, and it would be nice to get to that point where you're like associated with something and recognized for something, but then you got to figure you get to the point where it's like, you know what? I don't feel like sticking this fucking afro pick in my hair today.
Yeah.
But my agent is telling me I have to, or I feel obligated to do it. It's like, I think at that point you get kind of annoyed and you're like, you want to reinvent yourself, or you don't want to be, roped into that forever. But then again, if that's how you're making your livelihood, I guess that's a sacrifice you got to make.
Well, it's like whatever your hairstyle was 20 years ago, if you had to keep it basically forever.
Like the Flock of Seagulls guy is like stuck with that ridiculous.
Does he still have that?
I don't know.
Oh yeah, right.
But
If he wants people to know who he is,
I mean,
then
really,
yeah.
realistically, if you went to go see Flock of Seagulls and they just had regular haircuts, or
yeah,
that's true.
like back in the day, he couldn't take the stage looking like Gordon Gekko with a totally slicked back hairdo. Somebody would be like, "Hey, get back in the dressing room, redo your hair. That's not what people are here to see."
Well, and like the Misfits are always going to have that hair in front of their eyes.
Right,
Like that
double locks.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
that's got to get a little much
It's
after
gotta
a
be
while.
terrible. Yeah.
Talk about something that's not age appropriate anymore. I mean, those guys are pushing 60, right?
Probably, yeah. Jerry only starts like in the back of his head, back here,
Well,
spike right down the middle. Yeah. Oh well. It's your gimmick. You got to hang on to it.
Yeah. So, I mean, one of the reasons why we're continuing on here is because we would kind of like to ascend to that level ourselves,
Right.
become somewhat famous or make our livelihood doing that. So, we're actually speaking from a place of envy a little bit, at least I am. But so what we're here to do on this episode is lay the foundation and describe how we're going to do the podcast moving forward. But since this is such a special occasion, we did something special and spectacular for this episode, which was the song you heard about 10 minutes ago.
Yes.
Nick, you want to go into the story behind that one?
Well, we months ago. I don't recall exactly how long ago it was, but it was before Kiss announced the End of the Road tour, and kind of after I think Paul had already talked about not wanting to do any more studio recordings with Kiss, or studio albums at least.
Yeah.
And I don't remember who said it, but one of us said the phrase, "Who's coming with me?" And then one of us kind of jumped on it and said that would actually be a good title for like the last Kiss song.
Okay.
Like,
yeah.
like either just a single that they could play on this tour, put out, kind of like example that comes to mind for whatever reason is the song "Sex" by Motley Crue. They put out that song and toured the summer, and that was the new song that they played.
When was
in the
that?
set.
I don't even remember that.
That was I want to
Was that
say
after Saints of Los Angeles?
that was no, that
Or
yeah,
before?
definitely after.
Oh.
It was I think it was when they toured with Kiss or right around there.
The tour.
It was around that time, yeah.
Okay, I don't remember it either.
But
But that's, I guess, yeah. You just
It
need
would-
one.
yeah.
This is the new song, and then we'll play all the hits.
So
Right.
then we discussed it, and I don't even remember who. Well, it was probably me because I think I was the one who was all worked up about it. Thinking
Naturally.
that it was you're getting worked up about things. That's me. And I remember thinking like, oh man, like we did that. Do you want to touch me now? And I think it would be cool since we talked about this already. Since we could say, hey, this is a song that we kind of wish, or at least we would try to make it as good as what Kiss could possibly, put out for their last sort of hurrah single, kind of capping it off. And we were texting each other, and suddenly a bunch of lyrics came to my head, and then it was like, okay, I'm writing this song, and
There it goes. You just took it. You took the ball and ran with it, basically, because they're not going to do it. Paul and
I was
Gene-
going to say that our confidence level in them actually doing it is pretty low.
Mhm.
So, although I hope they do something, because the last Kiss song being "Don't Touch My Ass, God" that would be a dubious distinction. So,
Yeah.
see what they got in mind. But anyway,
yeah, so that's pretty much what it is. And it's us having some fun, and we enjoyed doing our version of "Do You Want to Touch Me Now?" And was like, hey, let's do another song. So that's what we did. Hope everybody likes it, or at least is tolerant of the concept of us doing an episode on this.
Either way, you're about to get an analysis of this song, because that's what we do in this podcast. I will give a hint as to what the podcast is going to be moving forward, and hint number one is we will continue to analyze a song per episode.
That's our gimmick. That's our rerun hat.
See, that's our afro pick in the coif. That's the top hat. That's the rerun beret and suspenders.
Yeah, that's our
The
dynamite.
dance moves, yeah. You
Yeah.
big dummy. That's our version of it.
And-
So there you go. We actually have one of those.
I
That didn't
didn't
even
even-
occur to me.
And the title of the song is kind of, I guess it makes sense with the podcast. We're kind of,
So symbolic.
it's a little symbolic, I guess. Who wants to
I mean, it's
keep listening?
we built this whole show and our following and our listener base based on Kiss fandom. We might lose some people.
That is an interesting thing I thought about, because I just kind of assumed at first, like, oh, whoever listens will keep listening, and hopefully the snowball will keep growing. But then I thought, I bet there's a decent amount of people who are just like, I'm done.
Could be.
No more
Or-
Kiss stuff. I'm done with that. And
or
we'll
it
never
won't-
hear from them
yeah,
again.
or it won't be a weekly thing. It'll just be
They'll pop in once
like,
in a
oh,
while.
what songs did they do? It's kind of like if I'm checking out, let's just say, for instance, like Eddie Trunk's podcast episodes. Like, who did he talk to?
Oh.
No. All right, I'll listen to this one.
Right. Okay.
Which is kind of how the Kiss thing was. All of them, it's each a song. So
Yeah.
if you see a song you like, you listen to that one. But they were all Kiss songs, so Kiss fans would find something that they're going to like in every episode.
Right. So wait, is the new gimmick that we're going to write and record a new song for every week?
Gosh, I hope not.
Well, more will be revealed later in the episode. But
Okay.
first, we're going to make you listen, or you can just fast forward through an analysis of the masterpiece you just heard about 10, 15 minutes
Or
ago.
we can laugh at any sort of bad production decisions that were made.
Yeah.
All kinds
Who
of fun.
says there are any? We don't know.
We'll find out.
We're going to find out, though.
All right. Well, before we start playing this again, I'm going to open the book here. We've got a new book. Brand new book just came in from
Wait a minute.
Amazon Prime today.
How can there be a book not about Kiss?
I know, you wouldn't think there would be any. See, the old book was Kiss Behind the Mask. This new book is Pot of Thunder Behind the Boners.
Oh, God. Is this from the DPC, or the doorbell would have rang if that was the case, right?
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
just-
they're not going to
No, the
affiliate themselves with this
subscription's
nonsense.
been canceled.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
That's kind of a shame. Jeez.
Yeah.
They're like, you cut off. You're done with Kiss.
yeah,
Can someone else get a subscription, or is that service done?
you can try, but it's kind of like if you're watching a show from the '60s and it says send it to P.O. Box 62, New York, New York.
You're not going to get anything back.
You might not get your whatever item you're sending for with
Right.
your box tops.
But how do they know we're done with Kiss? Maybe we'll do that concept that some people suggested where we do all the solo material. Nobody knows what we're doing at this point.
That's true.
We're a bunch of assholes over there.
That's true.
We promoted them more so than the other way around. They cut us off like that.
Yeah, amen.
Andy ought to send the FBI over there, investigate what kind of shenanigans they're doing.
I'll call my guy.
There's just no loyalty.
Patent
at that
infringements gone wild in that organization, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Just send the FBI over. They'll find something. That's what we do here. When people cross us,
Send the
send the
FBI.
FBI
Call
after
the
you.
FBI.
I was so disappointed when the FBI told me it's not a big deal. It's okay. But come on.
That is a disappointment.
Come on. Come on, FBI. And that's the other thing. That
you-
guy called me so fast. It was shocking. It was like, because it was an online submission. And I put it in, and it was like a 10 count, and my phone rang. I was like, holy shit.
And he
the
already
FBI
he already knew
he already
the whole
read
situation.
it. Yeah, like the FBI is not playing around. Maybe 10. It was within 30 seconds. No exaggeration. It's like, damn, these guys are not joking.
You know, it coinciding with this particular episode. I always thought, and I might have said this before, so I apologize, but I always thought that it would be fun if you found out you're getting tapped your phone calls, which is that's not the part that would be fun. But say it's happening to you, and you're a guy who plays music or writes music and records stuff, and just it's not sticking anywhere.
Yeah.
Just thought it'd be funny just to call someone and just keep playing music and just comment that, hey, somebody's listening to it. A stranger is hearing my music right now.
Forcing people.
Well, it's if they're wiretapping you, it's a little unethical to begin with, so they kind of get what they deserve. I had a friend years ago who, whenever he would write anything, I would hear it for about a half hour of him basically working the song out over the phone to me.
Really?
Why would you sit there and listen to that?
Nick's too nice, man.
Trying to be polite, yeah. It was a difficult thing to do.
Like you'd walk around.
I mean,
and do other
and
stuff.
It was just like a guitar riff or something, over and over.
Who would do that to some other person?
You know the person, so
I don't care. There's no reason to subject anybody to that. It's ridiculous. Do I know this?
Yeah, you
individual?
do. And if I told you who it was, you wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, well, knowing the caliber of people you guys know, I'm sure I wouldn't be surprised. So
How long ago was this?
This is 20 years ago, probably.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, because if it was now with
you
as an
kidding?
adult with children and
No.
a life and a job, there's no way you would have.
No,
that.
absolutely
those phone
not.
calls don't happen anymore.
No.
Like I have a couple of friends who, if I get on the phone with them, I know I'm gonna talk about things for a while.
Yeah.
Just whatever comes up, and it just I can't even talk to those people
No,
anymore.
they're done. They're
Yeah.
cut out of your life because they're not capable of having a short conversation.
And it's whenever there's that space where you can segue into, well, I gotta get going, they start talking again.
They keep going.
It's amazing.
Uh-huh.
I know several people who are very good at that.
yeah, you don't accept those calls anymore. Just doesn't
Unfortunately,
happen.
that's kind of the way it goes. Yeah.
We used to have this friend who would always go, "What time is it?" And then
That
he'd
was
be like,
that was him basically saying, I'd rather you not
Yeah.
be talking to you.
Yeah. What time is it? Oh, I gotta go, man.
Yeah. What time is it?
That was his way out of those
Exit
conversations.
strategy. It's
Yeah.
not a bad one.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
So then when you told him what time it was, I had a thing 5 minutes ago.
I don't think it was to me. I think it was his line he used. I think. I'm thinking of. No one cares. But there's a specific friend who would talk forever, and I think that the friend we're talking about would use this on him all the time.
Oh, wow.
Oh, what time is it?
Okay.
Yeah, and then we would laugh about it. That was a good out.
I know I got it once when I was at the guy's house.
Oh, you got a what time?
What time is it?
Yeah, I might have
Oh,
gotten.
I guess I better leave.
Yeah. What time is it? Leave. That's just a funny code for I'm
that-
done with you.
And you get the person to answer you, and then you get to.
Then you get to
It's
say
a good segue, actually. now
Oh,
that
it's
you think about it.
6. Yeah, I got something going on at 6:05. Get out of here.
Yeah, not bad.
Gotta watch whatever.
Pretty
TBS.
brilliant, actually. Now that we're discussing it.
It is, yeah. Good stuff. All right, so hey, back to the book. Cracking it open, brand new book. Look at that. Not a wrinkle in the binding. Until
Gotta
just
cut
now.
the pages.
Yeah. So, about Who's Coming With Me, Nick said, "Who's Coming With Me came together pretty quickly. It's our tribute to the band we've spent 5.5 years listening to, discussing, and ultimately bonding over." There you go. So, without any further ado, 2019's Who's Coming With Me?
No comments from any of the other participants, or a pretty short blurb there.
There's a little more, but I'll save it for
Yeah,
later.
it's probably not very interesting. Right? no demo is better.
Well,
Commentary.
We'll see. There's still more, so I didn't go through it all yet.
All
I just
right.
read the first chunk.
Have we? Is it that? Well, that's a new thing. Typically, we don't refer back to the book during the analysis, do we?
Well, no, but
Occasionally.
it's happened before
It has
on an
Yeah.
extremely long ones where there's some,
Yeah.
where there's a question. Hey, what happened here? And then there's some Bob Ezrin thing or something. We might go back, but yeah,
All right.
we'll spread it out over.
Well,
the
this is
episode.
a new dawn, so we can change the rules up a bit. There's no problem there.
My New Year's resolution is to spread out quotes from the book throughout the episode.
Well,
How big is? How many pages in the book? It looks somewhat formidable.
Someone handed it to him at the airport.
That's pretty much it. It's a pamphlet.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I was looking at another book that looked more formidable.
That's Beneath the Boners.
Yeah.
That's a much bigger book. But Behind the Boners.
That's actually a dual volume.
It's a dual volume that comes in one hardbound case, carrying case.
Yeah, we're off and running,
Oh,
boys.
goodness.
Here we go.
All right.
Had to stop
Nick
it.
did an early stop, just like the last 5.5 years. Quick stop.
So just
6 seconds.
letting everybody know that's Andy on the.
Oh,
on
yeah,
the
we didn't
bass
talk
there.
about who's doing what.
Well,
No.
that's why we're analyzing the song.
You're right. You're right.
It's Andy on the bass doing a little thumping.
Thumping.
I enjoyed the sound he got out of it very much when he sent it to me.
Primo gear. That's what you get.
Yeah, this is the kind of bass line that inspires that Timothy Busfield in Revenge of the Nerds, the involuntary pelvic movements, thrusting back and forth.
Yeah.
It's got that quality to it. It has
good.
that effect on people.
That's good.
It is good. It's what you want.
It makes your body move.
Yes. Makes parts of your body move that sometimes it's not appropriate for them to be moving, but this takes your conscious control of that out of the equation. You have no say in the matter.
That's right. And
anymore.
if anyone else is hearing it, they're going to join in, too. So be careful who you listen with.
Just a group of people thrusting in different directions.
Bust this out at your next party. You've been warned.
Yeah.
That's all we're going to say.
Put the fine china away.
yeah.
Careful.
And speaking of the opposite of, speaking of Primo equipment, the opposite of Primo equipment, only had 2 working microphones when I was recording the drums for this.
Oh.
So I
Why
had
didn't you take these?
Both of the Pyle brand.
one pile.
Really? It was called Pile?
Yeah. Pyle.
Chris, I bought a generic replacement for an SM57 because the one that I can't get it working, the one I had.
Yeah.
And Chris saw it, and it was like a $15 thing on Amazon, and it came with a cable. You know,
of course.
Good reviews.
Cable costs more.
Yeah, good reviews. So I figured, okay, I'll give it a shot. Why not? And Chris saw it and immediately heard of the company, knew what they were known for.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you just would have made fun of the name.
No.
Like Pile of.
Well,
shit.
yeah, but no. Chris was very familiar.
Yeah, they were kind of known back in the 70s for being manufacturers of like just brute force car stereos, the kind you'd find in like a stabbing wagon with the plush carpet up and
really?
down the walls. Yeah, with the fishbowl window in the back of the van.
Really? Pile
Yeah,
was the
big old
stereo
Pile.
choice.
Speakers, subwoofers in there, to get your fuck on in your van.
Wow.
They're still
Bust out the Pile system.
They're still in the game, apparently, to some degree.
I was actually happy to see that. It was like a throwback.
I had no idea. Didn't know they had such a rich
Wait,
history.
I'm waiting on the curly whirly microphone to come in for the next recording session.
Well, that takes on a whole other connotation. So
So
do the math on that. Our listeners are people of the world. They know what I'm talking about.
So I had to overdub the drums. So basically, it's 2 performances put together, and it gives it
So
like
instead of using like 5 or 6 mics in one
one
session,
performance.
yeah, you had to do it in
Yeah.
multiple. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so
Interesting.
yeah, and
Interesting technique.
It gave it a slightly like Gary Glittery kind of a thing because that's how all those big songs back in the 70s of his were done with 2 drummers.
and then
They were?
they
I didn't know
yeah.
that.
Did that kind of have a little bit of like a flam effect or whatever?
Yeah, it's
where-
got a little, and you hear some hits are not exact with
Right.
each other, so it's got a. So I was
Did
like,
not know that.
I was like, that's not such a terrible thing, I guess. It's been done before. It's not
Yeah.
not a capital crime, I don't think.
No.
Yeah, and it's when you're just kind of doing a homebrew recording project to try and capture acoustic drums is a challenge.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very, very difficult.
It is. It's a real pain in the ass.
I mean, we did the previous song with the electronic kit. Do you think if any future songs are done, would you have a preference over one or the other moving forward?
I prefer playing an acoustic kit.
You like the sound better?
Yeah,
or,
and plus it's just
layout of it and the
and it's I mean, obviously it's like it's less predictable, more raw sounding kind of a thing, a little more garagey,
Yeah.
which is I'm not going to be able to unless I spend months straight working on something like that. I'm not going to be able to get like a drum sound that's going to be immaculate or anything
No,
like
that's-
that, which is not really the point anyway.
Right, but still, that's a hard thing to do. Anytime we ever tried that, even, I think when we had our old band, we did like probably 4 or 5 mics, I think. It never sounded good. I don't
No.
know how people, I mean, you got to have
Oh,
the
you-
right stuff.
you
man.
got to have the right stuff. You got to have someone who knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
A recording engineer, and then apply some effects to it.
Yeah.
And that's where being in a proper studio is pays the dividends.
Yeah.
But
Someone who does it for a living and
Right.
just I know what equipment I have, I know what I need to what
But
EQ I
yeah.
have to do.
But in lieu of that, listening to these drums, especially the intro here where it's just drums and bass, so you can really kind of hear the quality of it, and so as not to completely alienate our Kiss fan listeners, it kind of reminds me of the drum sound on Dress to Kill a little bit.
Okay.
Lo-fi, but some energy there. There's some driving quality to it.
Yeah.
And when I say lo-fi, I don't mean I mean like compared to like an over-processed, like huge cannon shot 80s rock drum sound, which would be the other side of the pendulum on this one.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's quite a challenge you took on there, and I think given the circumstances and the time frame, pulled it off pretty well.
So there you go. So far, you got Nick on the drums and America's little brother on the bass.
And then someone's about to kick the door in.
Uh-oh.
The third guy over here.
Now, how you played some rhythm guitar on this as well, so that's a blend of the two, correct?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So two guitars playing the same thing basically, but with the different tonal qualities of the instrument itself and also the amp used would be blending them together. You would hope they would make for a nice mix, and sounds pretty good.
You guys
Yeah.
use different gear.
Yeah, I did mine with my stuff. Chris did his with his stuff and put it together.
Okay.
Mine's the fuzzy one.
Okay.
Because he insisted on getting the
Naturally.
line 6 out, but
It is the line 6, yeah.
Nick's always the fuzzy one.
Epiphone and line 6.
There you go.
Say what you will.
well, the Epiphone still has those good pickups.
It does.
Right, so
It does.
it's fine, as long as you've got the girth coming from the pickups. I'm sure that helped things, because when I heard the scratch track, it sounded pretty good to me. I didn't have any problems with it. So would you say it's about an even mix of the two at this point?
Yeah, it's an even mix as far as level goes, and then as far as panning from where things are left to right. Mine are more in the middle, and Chris's are more left and right a little bit, and I'll talk about why
Okay.
when we get to a
Interesting.
certain part of the song.
Okay. I think I know where you're going. Cool.
I'll back it up a little bit. So I did this, decided to cut in with a little double stop thing on the top two strings here. I don't know. When I came up with it and I was playing along with it with the original scratch track, it seemed like a tad of a Cheap Trick quality to it, and I can't put my finger on which song of theirs would lead me to come to that conclusion, but that was the kind of vibe that it gave me as I came up with that part, because I wanted to do something add a little something different to it before the whole thing kicked in.
And it's like musically before that, it's just kind of like a heavy kind of a power chordy riff. And then that Chris's lead there actually has, like, to me, a rockabilly-ish kind of a lead feel.
Okay.
And which is, like, mixes it up.
Yeah, introducing something else that wasn't originally in it. Different vibe.
Yeah.
It's cool. All right. Well, guess what's coming next? The opening lyric.
Oh, goodness.
Are we ready for this? And I did rewind it for like 5 seconds, so here we go.
I wanted to comment on the bass.
Oh.
Because Andy really...
I was going to comment on it as well. You go first.
For most of the song at this point, Andy's going to be putting on a bit of a clinic with the bass.
Oh, that's sweet of you to say.
Well, it's true. I mean, it's very, very... I was very pleased when I received the bass track.
I'm glad.
So
I'm happy to hear that.
It's not... Now, we didn't really address this, but there are some elements of like maybe a Kiss-y kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because that's, originally the idea. But the idea was not really to, let's try to, like...
It wasn't like, what's that called? Classic 78
exactly.
or whatever.
It wasn't a thing where it was like, we wanted somebody to try to confuse it for a Kiss song.
Right.
Sonically, I could not achieve that. And, other elements were probably not going to be there.
There's no reason for us to try to do that.
And I didn't want to do it anyway.
Right, yeah.
So
those guys did it perfectly. Why would we try to do that?
And that's, and even if we could, I'd rather just do something that's more us if we can. So I wanted to compliment Andy on the bass, but there's some little Gene kind of stuff going on. I don't know if that's conscious. Conscious.
It was, yeah.
I imagine it was, yeah.
Just a couple like boom, 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 boom. Yeah. Those were on purpose.
So
there's some interesting note choices amid those kind of walking bass lines, so makes it interesting.
Good.
So because at least my opinion is if the bass line is basic, the guitar parts should be a little more complex, and then vice versa.
Yeah.
If everything's basic or if everything's complex, it's a shit show. Well, it's more of a shit show if everything's a complex. If everything's basic, it's just kind of not very interesting.
Yeah, right. Was that Will? Well, actually, can you give me the lyrics so far?
Straight as a laser, cut like a razor.
You talking about a schlong there with that? Or
well, I don't know if
you
you
can
want
make that euphemism. It would apply.
Yeah, I don't think that's.
I think I gave him a bloody nose with that comment.
Yeah, geez, you're okay.
Yeah, ruptured his septum with a mere reference to schlongs.
I'm still working on the congestion I had. Actually, from back when I had to record the vocals for this. So I'm very, very happy I was able to hit all the notes. It was doubtful for a little while there.
It's not easy. Singing is a pain in the ass. That's the worst part of recording for sure, because there's so many variables that can screw you up. Like, you physically can't do it if there's something wrong. It's like if you're tired, or if it's, I don't know, if you're sick, or if you fucking ate something weird and you've got some excess mucus or something. Like, there's so many things where you're like, I can't do it.
It's the most daunting of all the things to do, yeah.
I remember trying it back when we had our other band way back when, and that was like that period of my life where sometimes I wouldn't sleep for like 2 days. So like I would stay up. I'd be up for like 40 hours. I'm like, I'm gonna try to sing some songs, and I physically didn't have the strength to do it. Like I couldn't make the noises. And I'm like, I can't do it. I'm wide awake, even though I haven't slept in forever. Got all this stuff set up, and I can't make the noises. I gotta go to sleep and try it again the next day. It's weird.
Well,
Because with other instruments, you could just get through it.
well,
you know?
obviously, but I don't think it's that weird. It makes sense.
No.
You have to. What's surprising is how many different variables, like you said, affect your voice.
Yeah.
So, which I've never sang to any great extent on any recording, so I'm kind of happy I don't have to worry about that stuff.
Yeah, that's the worst.
And so lyrically, where it's coming from is it's straight as a laser, cut like a razor.
Slice like a hammer.
No telling how far we can go.
Yeah.
We'll run the track, yeah. The wind's at our back, yeah.
Is run the track like we'll run the table, kind of?
No,
Or
it's,
is it
it's
like
we're
we're
gonna
gonna
run
get on
we're gonna run the race.
Is that an homage to the cover art of One More Time?
No,
I think it is now.
It
I
is
think
now.
yeah.
That's how I interpret it.
So
It was subtle, yeah.
the whole concept, I guess, is kind of there already of what the song's supposed to be about.
What is the song supposed to be?
Initially, it
You
was
wanna
like
get into that now, or do you
yeah,
want to
I could, unless you want
string
to
the listeners along?
Okay,
Let's string
them
them
along.
All right, because I have my theories, and I also, if my theories are correct, or even if they aren't, I could, suggest a way to an environment where this song would possibly become a ubiquitous anthem.
Oh,
So,
Interesting. Okay.
yeah.
It's nice
The
to see.
wheels are already turning here.
Grab the gold?
Ready, set, and grab the gold.
I love
yeah.
it. All right.
See, now there's the first one. I mean, license this out to NBC Sports for the next Olympics.
Yeah.
For their fucking all their human interest pieces, or all the the rallying cry production things
All the
they
Bob
do.
Costas
Yeah, all the
things, basically.
bullshit they do with to avoid showing any actual competition.
So they'll have 3 folders in their music files. It'll be John Williams, John Tesh, and Pot of Thunder.
Well,
What do we go with this
But
time?
that's the thing, though. Like nowadays, the
John Tesh, the round ball rally song
Yeah.
during the Olympics. That would be awesome. Okay.
well, but nowadays you're seeing bands. They're licensing their music for this distinct purpose, and they're going into the creation of a lot of these songs with that in mind.
Is that a sign of the times? Like, we
You gotta-
can't make money on this, so let's
Yeah.
make money on that?
It's almost like a product placement type
Mhm.
thing.
Yeah.
License it out.
To
and-
bring it back to Kiss, wasn't All for the Glory
Yeah, it was.
being used during NFL games?
I remember it
Or
was college football.
college
which-
football?
yeah.
How did they get that deal? I mean, I know
Well,
Kiss
they're
is a huge
agents.
I know, but it's just pretty impressive that
Yeah.
hey, we got this new Kiss song by the drummer singing. It's like, what?
Yeah, but I'm telling you, that's like you said, that's a huge aspect of the new business model.
Yeah.
I'm sure ESPN and sports networks are fielding calls all day long from bands, known or otherwise, who are trying to get their music placed in this context. So if you're out there listening, you can expect a call from Pot of Thunder to get this on to the next Olympics.
Or the FBI.
One of the two, not necessarily in that order either.
So, don't care who sent them.
Yeah.
Won't break our momentum. Nobody's. What's that line, Chris? I forgot.
Nobody's a serious threat. Okay, so here's my question: who are they? Who's sending these people, and why would they be threatening?
Should I?
What's going on
should I-
here?
well,
Is this like some sort of goon squad coming after us,
Yeah.
or you, or the protagonist of the song? Hired thugs?
Are they actually people?
they're not specific individuals,
But they are.
but it's
Somebody sent them.
Yeah.
somebody sent them.
According to the lyrics.
And then we don't care who it was or who they are.
It's not going to break the momentum. They're
Yeah,
not a
no-
serious threat.
Nobody's a serious threat to.
And that makes sense. I mean, when you're faced with an adversary in real life, you don't really care who sent them. They're right there in your face.
That's true.
You have to, the questions about how this came about do not come into play. It's all about
Yeah.
self-preservation at that point.
Vanquishing.
Do you want to tell, or do we?
I could. I mean, that would kind of. I could go into what the song is about at this moment. If you like,
let's string
or-
them along.
Okay. So, before I get into the lyric, that guitar little part, there's my guitar parts playing kind of a more staccato, kind of a riffy kind of thing, and Chris is hitting some chords. That's why
They kind of split off.
I panned his over onto the sides
That makes sense.
so that big chord can kind of ring and hopefully stand out.
There you go.
So yeah, that's why things are where they are in the mix.
Yeah, and that's just something I came up with as we were recording my portion of this, and as I came up with that and ended up laying it down, it kind of, as I told Nick during the session we did, it was kind of had a Who quality, like a big Pete Townsend just banging out some big ringing chord and letting it sustain.
Yeah, so that was a nice. I mean, of course, the mix is as good as I could get it, but I think it's a nice compliment musically to the riff that's going on.
Yeah, and keep in mind that we didn't invest a ton of money in this thing and going into a proper studio. This is a homebrew project tossed together in our spare time, but given those limitations, I think it came out pretty good. And then on the Who tip with the bass line, that little run you did at the end,
Yeah.
almost Entwistle-esque.
The
If you
little
listen to it.
mind.
Listen to it again.
That's
play it
something to
back.
shoot for. That's for sure.
That's something he did a lot, especially later in his career, where he was like really just sort of, really just, especially in a live setting, would just go way over the top with the flash bass playing. So this last like run up the neck is somewhat Entwistle-esque to my ears.
All right, let's see if I went back far enough. That one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. He did that a ton in the later stages of the band's career. I mean, there's isolated bass tracks of his on YouTube.
Mhm.
It's just, it's crazy the stuff he would play, but you blend it into the rest of the band, it fits in there.
Yeah,
But just on its own, it's
And that's another classic example of what I was saying, is that when the guitar playing is relatively basic, you can get complex with the bass and it works. So
Yeah.
And Entwistle's, he's kind of on that level, like as far as you mentioned the YouTube videos, like the isolated tracks. He's one of those guys. Like there's, I'm blanking out, but I know like say like a Karen Carpenter vocal.
Yeah, sure.
It's like he's one of those people
where people want to hear
and
the
people,
isolated
or like a
tracks.
Freddie Mercury, a cappella track or something. Entwistle's one of those guys where people share it with each other and post it to each other, just freaking out about it.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
oh yeah, absolutely.
See, it's funny that you pointed that out because it was inspiration from something else, but it doesn't even come across the same way. but it was Dead Kennedy's "Forward to Death" ripoff, is what I was thinking, but it didn't even come across the same way. To go,
Well, that's how things happen. Right?
yeah,
I mean,
that's true. Different vibe to the song, so it doesn't really match. But yeah, that's what I was thinking at the time. And also, there was a part where there was some space, and I was like, oh, I gotta think of something to play here because chords are just kind of ringing. And I watched Home Alone that day. So I was like, oh, I'm going to do the theme from Home Alone in the space. And I did it, and it sounded terrible. So I had to change it back. But I was like, oh, that'll be funny to put the John Williams main theme from Home Alone, but like twice the speed. Didn't work.
It's worth a try, though.
Yeah.
And it could, something like that, it doesn't work, but maybe leads to something else. So it's...
Yeah.
Even though it's a ridiculous, funny idea, just
I just thought, oh, maybe I could
you might as
squeeze
well
it in
try
there.
it. Yeah. And lyrically, just so that we don't miss anything, we'll be harder than the hard times,
Yeah.
firmly planted on the front lines, which is when that line was written, was the line that kind of made me chuckle, thinking about doing an episode on it, saying we'll be harder than the hard times.
Yeah.
And the firmly in the demo initially I said the word feet firmly planted on the on the front lines.
Feet firmly
but it
planted
sounded
on the floor.
kind of dorky just to say the word feet.
Yeah.
And that is it fits with the lyrics and what the song is about, but it's also a hashtag feet on the floor Pot of Thunder reference.
There you go.
Trying to work in something like that.
That's good.
So
I like it. Sounds good.
What are those lyrics, then?
Who's hungry for glory? Which when I initially put that to the paper, I thought that's just so cliche.
So what?
But it was
how much great rock is all cliche.
But it was
mean,
it's inspired by like Kiss's career.
Absolutely. There's
so a line like that.
and again, a line like that is going to get you on the fucking Olympics. Trust me.
Yeah.
They don't want fucking high level poetry. They want lowest common denominator stuff that the average mouth breather who's watching the Olympics is going to latch onto.
Hey, I'm hungry for glory.
Yeah, that and Lord knows what else.
I told you
Dominoes.
about the time. Yeah.
And whoever's the sponsor.
Yeah.
I told you about the time. I don't even think it was 20 years ago when the song was current. It was more recent than that, but it was a Summer Olympics, and it was doing a thing about Michael Phelps, and they busted out the Bush machine head. It's like, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in. And just as soon as I heard that, I'm like, okay, what fucking cement head in the marketing department is like, oh, we have to apply this to a swimming context. And sure enough, it made it onto NBC Sports and the goddamn Olympics. So cliche works for that end.
So it came down between they had to flip a coin. It was either swimming or the clean and jerk with all the heavy breathing going on.
Right, exactly.
I'm always freaked out that those guys are gonna get hurt while I'm watching. I don't want to see
something's gonna rupture out of one of their lower orifices.
Yeah,
like that old SNL sketch where the guy's arms come off. Yeah.
I just expect like innards to just explode out of the anus of somebody, and I don't want to see that.
No, it's like
it's the only way to get a 10 from the Russian judge.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to see something shoot out of his anus.
Severe bodily harm.
Yeah,
takes it over that extra half a point.
Can you imagine? Oh, what a career that would be! I am a power lifter, competitive power. Oh my god.
No, that's rough stuff. But go ahead.
I was gonna say back to the lyrics.
Oh, okay,
these you were saying like, this is kind of cliche or whatever, but these legitimately could be Kiss lyrics, because there are, for the majority of the Kiss catalog, there are two themes to songs. It's either some kind of Sexual Conquest, or this song is the other one.
Yeah.
So, yeah. No one's going to
And
get
we
in my
did-
way. I'm going to do what I want.
And
I'm
we-
setting my
Right.
dreams.
Yeah.
and,
We
yeah,
did the
chasing 'em.
Sexual Conquest. We tried to write a song that was
There
in
you
that,
go.
in that
Yeah.
Kiss vein, and now we're trying to do the other one.
Yeah. But it's not like, oh, that's too ridiculous, or, oh, it's not clever enough. These legitimately could be Paul Stanley lyrics. So bravo to you for
Yeah.
writing them the way you did.
And so it's Who's Hungry for Glory? I'm looking at you. Leave the rest behind, which you may be noticing a couple of voices on certain
I
parts.
was wondering what was going on in there.
Guess who I got to sing some backups?
Paul Stanley?
No, even better.
Gene Simmons.
Come on, I said even better.
Guy Man, dude.
Well, not
Did you
quite
find
that
him
good.
somewhere? Not quite that good. Okay.
I
know the answer.
I got our friend Tom,
Oh.
Mr. Tom Codle, who's
Unbelievable.
been on the podcast, friend of ours.
Golden Pipes.
Well, he was on the. Do you want to touch
Yeah.
me now as well?
Yeah,
he's
so
he's someone who we rely on to come in and, he's basically the Jack Noseworthy of this show, and we're recording original music.
Well, and he's the one. He was able to hit the lower, like during the chorus, the who's coming with me,
Mhm.
and you hear the growl. Kind of that's sort of like, okay, I'm thinking if it's like a Gene kind of a vocal, you need that growl, like a background growl vocal.
Sure.
And I wasn't able to really sustain any sort of consistent note when I kind of did that initially. So
Yeah.
he was able to come in and nail it. So the fullness there of the backing vocal on that particular one is
You know why he's able to do that?
why is that?
Because he still parties. He's out late. He's out drinking. He might be smoking.
It's the kind of guy you need in
That's right.
certain instances.
We can't do that anymore. We don't have that kind of
No,
voice.
I can't do it.
No. He can do it.
That's why That's why he got the call.
Do what must be done. Shoot for number one. Who's coming? Who's coming?
What
with
exactly must be done? What are we talking about?
The
there?
dream must be
the
achieved.
commitment to being number one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Imagine if you actually felt that way about anything.
To be I mean, the first line, straight as a laser, cut like a razor.
Yeah.
Kind of, that sort of mentality.
Well, since we're through an entire verse and chorus, I'll just go into what my monetization plan for this is. You could totally license this to the Tony Robbinses of the world and motivational speakers everywhere, coming out strutting around the stage with their Madonna mics and
Yeah.
having this playing in the background for a bunch of corporate dweebs who want to be like fist pumping anthem about how their company is going to kick ass in the coming year.
And I'll make this promise: if it gets to that point, and even beyond, I won't care which political candidate plays this at their rallies.
Oh no!
You won't.
You're not going to throw
that won't be a news story.
Yeah,
I don't. Both sides can use it.
Exactly
for all I care.
right. You have at it. Exactly. There's not going to be any objection there. There's not going to be any pretense of we're trying to take a stand here. As long as your licensing money is coming through, go ahead.
I have a question. How come you never get like a liberal Democrat candidate to play a Ted Nugent song as their rallying cry? It always goes the other way.
Well, but just because there's a much smaller pool to draw from that would be acceptable to them.
It's basically Nugent, and that's it. That's
the
the only like outward. I don't even know who else would fit into that.
I'm trying to
category.
think of a song that would fit. What Ted Nugent song would be most likely used by the opposite party?
That's a
question for anybody listening.
I don't know
right now.
enough of it. I'm trying to think. I got nothing.
I mean,
Great White Buffalo.
yeah. Death by Misadventure. Wang Dang, Sweet Poontang. That would have been good for one for Bill, right, Andy?
Could have played a sax solo to that one.
Yeah, right, exactly. Thrusting his hips the whole time.
He does that when he's not even awake.
Exactly. He'll stick his dick in anything.
Horniest,
right?
horniest
That's right.
president ever?
Oh,
More than JFK,
I
you
would
think?
say so.
Yeah?
I don't
I mean,
know,
this
man.
guy was.
JFK was that guy. His back was bad, and he was still thrusting like you wouldn't believe.
He had to wear a brace because he would thrust so much. How do you think he hurt his back?
Who's the horniest president?
It's got to be JFK.
I don't know.
I think
about
it comes
that.
down between those two.
I mean, who knows if JFK was on this level? But when you're hearing about someone emptying his sack into a sink off the Oval Office, that guy's pretty horny. Okay.
Yeah.
That guy's like needing relief right now,
Oh, yeah.
and that's a level of horniness that's pretty high, I would say.
I mean,
Which isn't to say JFK didn't do that. We just never heard about it.
I think it's pretty safe to say probably 95% of them at least are just super horny.
Sure.
I'm going to say 95%.
You could say that
of
about
them are.
95% of males.
Yes, that's
Right.
true.
Right.
But I mean, I'm talking like excessive.
Well, we're
off
getting
the
into
charts.
another territory, but basically, here's how it goes. Any man who becomes someone in a position of power, probably 95% of the time, abuses that power, or at least exercises that
Or
power in some way.
exercises that power, but in that world that they're part of, that they're like the head of,
You're the shit.
you're not relating it to the average, what the average guy should feel
Well, and
No.
would be appropriate.
No,
Right,
action.
but that's also the whole Me Too movement is rooted in that dynamic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Creeps abusing their position of power to suddenly emerge from a bathroom stark naked and just
Yeah.
expect whichever woman he's lured into his area to just start servicing him and
Yeah.
not being repulsed by the sight of a Harvey Weinstein
Sure.
naked.
But the
I mean,
other
come on.
the other part of
Louis C.K. naked. No woman's getting wet over that. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you notice that stuff's not coming out about like Brad Pitt or anything.
yeah, no one's
Like,
complaining.
yeah, Brad Pitt took his pants off in front of me.
I hated it. It was the worst.
Yeah.
I felt terrible
Yeah.
afterwards.
Exactly.
That's true. But I was gonna say I don't know. I don't know about Harvey Weinstein, not specific names, but I think these guys start to behave like that because they have these opportunities thrown at them so many times.
Well, sure.
And then that just becomes normal. And then now when these stories start coming out, it's so crazy to normal people. But in their world, that's just another day.
Right. That's a world that the vast majority of people simply can't comprehend.
Yeah. Right.
It's kind of like the whole player and versus game kind of thing. I mean, that's what it is. It's in that world.
That's the game.
That's maybe not appropriate behavior, but it's expected.
Yeah.
I'm thinking by most people and accepted probably by quite a few.
Yeah.
And that's the game.
Yep.
I figured out what the fourth line was. What's the third line there? That one I couldn't.
Fire that will never grow cold.
Okay.
Returning slings and arrows tenfold.
I figured out that fourth one. I
What's a
really liked
sling?
it.
Slings and arrows, and I might be not even using it 100% correctly, but it's a Shakespeare expression.
Yeah,
Is that
you
like
never
a-
heard that before?
No, I'm dumb.
Slingshots,
Is that
like
it's like,
catapults of some sort.
okay? So just projectiles.
Slings,
of
the
variety.
slings and arrows of outrageous fortune.
People
or
using implements to hurl things at you.
some insults and
Yeah, rocks, things of that nature, trying to injure you.
Okay.
Boulders.
oil.
Yeah, anything.
Hot oil.
Anything you can grab, just flinging it in your direction, hoping it'll hit you in the head and you'll be rendered unconscious.
Oil even hotter than Andy uses at the tanning bed.
My Worship Me brand oil, which is what it was called.
Really?
The one I had, yeah.
Oh my god. Oh,
There's also an Ed Hardy one too. I forgot what that one was
over
called.
the top. Why not?
It's
Ed Hardy.
yeah.
Oh my god. These things you've just revealed about yourself are just dude, the Worship Me tanning oil. This is another scenario. Send him into Boys Town with some of that. There won't be anything left of him inside of a half an hour.
Carrying the tanning oil in my hand. Worship me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You would be disintegrated inside of 30 minutes in that environment. I want to see that happen one of these days.
I want to see that happen.
All right. Keep going. Any more comments on the lyrics or on the music or on?
I mean, the lyrics are almost all the way done. I guess I could cap it off
Sure.
afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was kind of Harvey Weinstein-ish.
Yeah, that's right.
It begins now and it's done when I say it is.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, you could interpret it that way.
Oh, and I mean, it's obviously not a song about that.
No.
But that
It is now.
But that mentality to get into that position where
Yeah.
where you're somebody who thinks they can behave that way, absolutely.
That's true. I mean, if that's how you approach your career, you might approach relationships that way too.
No, I'm sure you're gonna. The relationships are not going to be nearly as important if you're this person.
It's true.
And again, just you put this in the hands of a motivational speaker. He's going to whip a crowd into frenzy with lines like that, you know.
Nick, you might have to become a motivational
Bunch of
speaker.
fucking
Wow. Yeah.
bunch of
Sure, I'll
fucking
do it.
corporate guys in short sleeve dress shirts just rising out of their seats and thrusting their fists in the air.
I'll have I'll bring a photo booth with me, kind of like at weddings. I have a photo booth, but it'll be like that picture that Chris keeps doing memes of and sends to me and Andy of the guy with the wad of bills in his hand. Who I don't know who it is, but it's a pretty good picture.
It's great. It's a beautiful thing. I've been dropping that one on Blabbermouth and every opportunity. Just for no good reason other than to just lay it on there, get some exposure for it. But yeah, I mean this messaging would serve a motivational speaker quite well. I would think I could see it happen. What are the lyrics there? I couldn't.
Can't outbest the best, always a step ahead. And then we come back to who's coming with me.
Yeah, again, you flash that messaging up on the screen in some auditorium with a bunch of fucking Microsoft people or the Amazon crew. You're going to have a riot on your hands.
Yeah, those guys are all going to whip out their money and buy the How to Flip Houses book that you're trying to sell.
Exactly right, yeah.
Be a millionaire by flipping property.
Exactly.
All right.
And
Fuck licensing. Let's do it ourselves.
Yeah, right,
Let's
yeah.
become motivational speakers.
All right.
Well,
Who's
see,
coming
There's
with
a
me?
ton of money in that, man. These
Well, this-
corporations, they throw millions at these guys, have them show up and
Isn't it ridiculous?
whip their workforce into a frenzy. It's such horse shit.
And does that work at all?
Who knows? It's the very essence of a dog and pony show. It's just a fucking charade.
how often do they do that after like a massive layoff or something where the morale is low, or do they do it right before they know they're going to do that?
Who knows? But this thing would be right in the wheelhouse of it.
And the line that let's see, it begins right this moment, but it ends when it ends when we say it does. That backing vocal is my favorite Tom Codel moment
Ooh.
on the recording.
Nicely
So-
done, Tom.
Yeah, that one, and I think it's
Well,
just.
see, when Tom sees a lyric like that, that's when his genital area
Oh yeah.
kicks into gear.
I mean, it's a breathy kind of a
Exactly
kind of a
right.
delivery. So it's
Again,
it
this is
works
another
perfectly.
involuntary bodily function that just kicks into gear in that guy. That's why we call him in for these things.
Yeah, he was probably at Rodney's during big ass beer night reading these lyrics. He had to split early.
All geared up for it. Rodney's. Okay.
Remember
yeah.
big ass beer night? That was I forgot. I think that was Thursday. But that's what it was called.
Was that in the outdoor zip up tent?
I was pre-outdoor zip-up
Okay.
tent, but it was they had like the larger like the, well, I don't even know what those would be, 24-ounce bottles or something, like big
yeah.
bottles of beer on sale. Big ass beer night.
Can't beat that title.
No.
Somebody comes up with that title, you just that's print that one.
Yeah.
Going with that one. So
There it is.
a lot going on there.
Yeah.
A little bit of everything.
So, yeah,
Obviously the guitar solo, but there's some drum fills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Went right into the guitar solo, which when I recorded, because Chris didn't play it for me beforehand. He just, got them all set up and, hit record. And I was not expecting like a brand new melody basically coming out of it. And it was a very nice surprise. And the couple people I played it for have been also very complimentary as far as, that was a cool decision to play that kind of guitar solo, to bring a new melody into it. So
Yeah, I wanted to come in and do something different than what I usually do. There's plenty of that bullshit coming in a minute or two, but I just kind of the thing about it is the chord progression underneath it sort of lended itself to that, and did something I don't normally do, which is not play a bunch of fast runs, kept it more melodic like that. But I also switched between, I started in a minor pentatonic, went to a major pentatonic, and then the third and final portion is a blend of the two.
Okay.
And that's something I've been just dabbling in just on my own, and I was like, okay, I'm going to see if that applies here, and lo and behold, it did.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that one. I mean, thing about something that guitar nerds are pretty particular about is, and I've talked about this before on the show, is the tone of it, and just the way we recorded it, the equipment we used to record it, the resources we had available. You're not going to get some gargantuan from some other planet, just holy grail guitar tone going on here.
Right.
But given the resources we had and the time frame and all that, I think it came out pretty good. I used my Friedman small box 50-watt head through a Friedman 112 cabinet with a creamback speaker in it. Guitar playing friends out there who may not be in the loop, I can tell you that the Friedman hype is real. Best amp I've ever played through, hands down. And the other thing is that it, we recorded that down in my man cave, so there was more volume than I typically use when I'm just knocking around down there, but still not on a drummer level, like when you're in a rehearsal room and basically the drummer sets the volume level.
Yeah.
So wherever the drummer, whatever his volume is, you're going to get your amp right to where that is.
Yeah.
And if you're with a hard-hitting drummer, you're putting a fair amount of volume in. When that amp gets at a nice volume level, it does sound like God, and it's a great amp. I'm not sure that's reflected here, but, you know, we did the best we could with what we had available to us, and I thought it came out pretty good, but I think in terms of like the note selection and the composition of it and the way I approach this solo, it's one of the best I've ever done. So I appreciate the opportunity to have come up with this.
Cool. Is that just one 12-inch speaker?
Just one.
And it's still fairly loud. You could play in a room with a loud drummer.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
It doesn't affect. It doesn't really affect the number of speakers. Doesn't necessarily affect volume. It's more of the efficiency of the speaker.
Okay.
Like if you had a 412 cabinet will sound fuller just because there's more air being pushed. But
Yeah.
in terms of a volume thing, it's as long as you're not overpowering the speaker with the wattage from the amp and risking blowing up the speaker, you're fine.
That happened
So-
to me.
That did. You didn't even do it.
No, I let someone borrow a cabinet and they blew the whole thing.
Yeah. I mean,
Nice.
that can
And then
happen.
handed it back.
Handed
to you.
it back.
Sorry.
Yeah,
No,
isn't that
not fixed.
great?
Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
It's still
gotta love it.
still in our parents' basement.
Yeah,
Never been used again, and that was 2004.
that can happen. But no, it was again, you know, it's like when I listen back to stuff that I've done, and I was telling Nick this earlier in the week, you know, I listened back to the Mean Red CD, came out 25 years ago this
Wow.
month. I'm still, every time I hear a song from that comes up in my shuffle, I'm like, should have done that differently, should have tweaked the sound of that, blah, blah, blah. I'll be doing that forever. I'll be doing that with this, but
Yeah.
overall, I think it came out pretty good. I think I kind of like the grinding quality of the guitars, the way they're mixed together. But the important thing is that I was really happy with how this solo came out. It's
Yeah.
not something I typically do. So
It's different than what I expected, in a good way. I mean, not that I expected something and was not looking forward to it, but you know what I mean.
well, what you expected is all the horse shit that's about to come down the pike here during the ride out thing. And that's kind of what I expected to do as well. But then, like I said, when I heard it, it was just kind of, okay, this is how I should approach it.
Yeah.
And again, this is not any highbrow guitar playing or any world-changing piece of art, but I will say that this is the type of thing where it came to me almost instantaneously,
Yeah.
and I just refined it, and it was completed in like 30 minutes, which
That's-
again is shouldn't be that surprising. It's not that complex, but it was pretty much came to me in this state almost immediately, and then I just refined it. So
And then at the end of the solo, there's a little riff kind of going on, and then there's like the drum fills happening and all that. And during that part is my favorite Andy moment of
Really?
the song.
That's
Yeah,
your favorite part?
just what you played, the bass there, and it blends really well, so it might not be as distinguishable
Yeah.
hearing it in this. But when I first heard the bass track, kind of, you know, I had it much louder than everything else in the mix, just so I can kind of hear what you were doing. And that part right there was my favorite part.
That's
So-
funny, because here's what I was thinking in my head as I was listening, because I was like writing it as I was going through it, you know.
Which is a lot of times the best way. Like if you've got the song
Yeah.
basically there,
And then you
that-
try stuff.
and then you just, I'm going to
listen
record
back.
it in sections.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
when you come up with the best stuff a lot of times.
So when that part came up, I said, "What the hell am I gonna do here?" And then I was like, that works." Okay, it was like that a quick thing.
It's my favorite part of it.
That's good. I'm glad.
And it blends in really well, so it's maybe not as distinguishable, but
yeah.
But yeah,
it's not really
enjoyed that.
Yeah.
And then that last drum roll just before the final pounding out of those chords before we cut it off. That was some furious drumming, reminiscent of one of Eric Carr's drum fills on Forever.
There you go.
The one where he just rolls over the complete kit, That's what it brought to mind to me. You could almost superimpose that over the video where he's doing that. It would blend together as well as one. So.
And that was kind of a tough one to do because I only have one rack tom.
How come?
So
I thought you had two.
And I don't have the bracket to put another one on.
Where'd it go?
This is how it is these days.
You had it. What, did it break?
I don't know where it is.
It's missing.
Yeah, so
we had two.
Well, and there's really, I mean, I guess if you're playing shows and you're playing a big kind of rock kind of sound all the time, then yeah, you'd want as many rack and floor toms as you can possibly get. But no, it's just one rack tom.
Sure.
And then somehow made it over to the floor tom, continuing that motion.
Sure.
So.
That's become kind of the setup of choice nowadays. It's a little more minimalist than it used to be.
One rack tom.
Yeah, that's kind of like the jazz setup. It's like you have the one rack tom, maybe two floor toms, but like I don't know, the two mounted rack toms is kind of gone a little out of favor.
Yeah.
So.
Well, there you go, Nick.
Yeah.
You're in style.
I made it. I remember with our old band, I played one or two shows with on the other side of the hi-hat a snare drum with the trap turned off.
Yeah.
Which was kind of we had some parts that were a little ska-ish back then. And that was a nice thing to have there for those kind of moments.
Yeah, that works.
Something fun to try out to any drummers listening.
There you go. Good stuff. Last part coming up here.
Yeah, what was the thinking behind your composition of this part? What did you have in mind when you came up with it?
Pretty much what is going to happen. Going back to the beginning drums, we're going to have the main riff. We're going to get the sort of growling kind of, not a very in-your-face vocal, but the vocals are there kind of holding up everything. So you're going to get, I think I'm in there a little bit, but it's mostly Tom now. Mm-hmm. Is going to be just doing the backing vocals. And then, yeah, it was maybe Chris can jam on it a little bit too. And there's one part that we I sort of had something in mind, and Chris and I, in the moment recording, I threw him the idea, and he played something that fit perfectly, and then said, "How are you going to put that in there so you can even hear it?" And then we'll get to that. And then Andy complimented it very well also in what he played. So. So that little was the part I was talking about.
Yeah.
I had the hits, the drum hits there, and it was just like I wanted to have some kind of hits, I don't know, some sort of accents there.
Yeah.
And then Chris hit the octave and slid it down, and immediately I thought, okay, well, if you have something like that, we can get a little bit silly with the panning. So we've got it going back and forth,
Jumping,
left and
yeah.
right. Yeah.
That's fun. That's part of the fun of recording stuff. Experimenting not only with the actual
And-
composition, but
Yeah, and that's the sort
Mix
of
it.
thing where you're not sophisticated if you're making that kind of a decision. I think I think that's the mentality amongst a lot of people. If you're doing something that's a kind of a novelty like that,
it's like Bush League or something.
yeah, it's kind of no. You should have everything kind of
Set.
kind of
Give me a
static.
break.
That's
horse
it's
shit.
it's not looked on as a sophisticated move to have things going back and forth. Like
Well,
that.
guess what? This is not
No.
a sophisticated piece
Definitely
of
not.
music, and also it's like some of the most iconic recordings of all time have had this stuff going on. The key is to not make it so overt and overly done that it's become, clumsily executed and
Sure.
just cartoonish or whatever.
And
It takes away from what's going on.
And there are recordings, that obviously are legendary recordings, but there's some stuff where I would even agree that it's like, it's a little unnecessary. And not talking about motion in the left to right, but just, okay, why is the entire drum kit all the way to the left? And, it's like a lot of stuff like 60s, like they just kind of came up with this technology to be able to do this with the stereo panning and all that. And then, obviously, yeah, you're going to goof around with it. And that's, a little bit of that here.
Well, you know what? Before we close out this song, I've got another quote from the book. This one's from Nick. It seems unlikely that we'll get a new farewell rock anthem from Kiss to coincide with their final tour, so we decided to take a crack at it ourselves. That said, we weren't really trying to sound like Kiss. It's a Pot of Thunder song. I'm pleased with it. I think that the current Kiss lineup could rework it a bit. Ooh, and the result would be a real treat for their fans. Ooh, at least it's fun to imagine something like that happening. And by the way, the demo was definitely not better. How about that?
That's a contrarian take compared to what is typical from Kiss. So.
Yeah.
And so I guess I could kind of... Oh, I don't know if you wanted to finish off, just let the song come
Sure.
to its end, and then we can discuss it lyrically.
Oh, I've got a quote from Andy here.
Oh,
My bass playing was inspired by the Raspberries and a little bit of humble pie. Okay. And that's it. 4 minutes and 9 seconds.
and that lead guitar solo outro happening was everything else. Like when I recorded the stuff with Chris, it was like, pretty calculated. Like, okay, let's do this, let's do another take of that, so we have it, and maybe we can double it or something like that.
Yeah.
And then when it came to this, it was one take like that. I literally did nothing to that. It was just he wailed and then he stopped. Like it was just on and then off. No sort of
Yeah, it's one continuous take. I just blazed through it.
and then I said, do you want to do like something else? So I have, something else that, maybe you'll do another take and like it better. I don't know. And he just said, no, it's going to be it's going to be the same thing.
I respect that.
well, and the
good.
main thing is I didn't make any like catastrophic mistakes, like my fingers didn't slip off a string or something. So if that's the case, there's no real reason to do it again from my standpoint. Again, it's like you could sit there all day and try to be like, okay, this is the one that's going to put me on Randy Rhoads' level. It's like, that's not happening today, I just want to get through this without making any mistakes.
Yeah.
And the fact that I did is pretty remarkable because I don't typically do that either.
But it was
So-
it was so casual. I remember it was like okay, well that was like perfect. Do you want me to do another one? No, I think
No,
I'm
it's
just going to
fine.
do the same thing again. Okay.
That's the best, though, because I think we've talked about this at one point, but from my experience over the years from trying to record music, it's always like first take, it's like 90% dead on perfect. And you think, I can do better. I kind of flubbed this a little bit. Maybe I can redo that. Record the next one, like 5 seconds in. All right, I got to start over. And then you go down this rabbit hole of constantly screwing up and overthinking it.
Yeah, that's definitely happened.
It's like
in my
first
world.
take is almost perfect. Next 20 takes are terrible, and then you get it back at the end. That's how it always worked with me.
I usually have to have a couple of warm up takes,
Yeah.
depending on what it is. If it's vocally, then yeah, there's got to be some warm up takes that are just gonna not be that good.
Yeah.
But as far as I just playing that riff, just those 3 chords for that outro.
Yeah.
I did one of the guitars is like pretty fuzzy that I did, and that was easy because there's so much sustain and all that. You don't really have to try that hard for it. But then I did one that was less gain on it, on the distorted aspect.
Sure.
And that one, man, my hand was cramping up toward the end of playing those chords over and over, trying to just get it to sound right.
Yeah.
So yeah, in that case, further takes would have been a bad idea.
It would have been worse.
Yeah, because my hand was really hurting at that point.
Yeah. I was telling you the same thing, that I haven't played in so long that my fingers hurt the next day from sliding up and down the strings. I was
Yeah.
like, geez, I haven't felt that in years. I don't have the calluses anymore that I used to have from playing all the time.
Well, not on your fingertips, or more in the palm area.
Yeah. Very rough shaft.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
You think it would have smoothed out over the years?
now, you know.
Like some kind of erosion,
Oh,
but
yeah.
no, apparently not. Bumpy and
But yeah,
Really?
so overall, Nick, you're the songwriter. So what is your what's your opinion of how the end result came out?
I'm really happy with it, like honestly, and it's a small victory, obviously, for if we're talking about like music we would typically play on this podcast, but those artists who, so much time and money and energy was put into it.
So much money.
And that, like they're throwing money on the recording studio.
right.
And considering the just lowest amount of time and money that could be put into putting a song together,
So little money.
so little
Yeah.
money.
Right, that's more like it.
I'm really happy with it. Like, considering what we had to work with. Not to keep going back to that. I think it sounds pretty cool, regardless. It's obviously. I mean, you can tell we didn't take it to anybody else. This is just
Sure.
kinda us trying to do it. We've all got stuff going on that we can't really sit around all day, even with our cheap equipment, and work on it that much. But I'm happy with it. It was a song that came out quick, and for me, that's kind of unusual and a little bit remarkable just for me to think about, because before this, I had a song I was working on for about 6 years.
Oh,
And I only have about 30 seconds of it still.
that's how it goes sometimes.
And then this idea
man.
came, and it's like it was like maybe a week or two, because this was late October. When we're recording this early January. Late October was when the idea was like, okay, we're gonna do this song, and we don't
Yeah.
have that much time. I mean, it's a couple months, but as far as free time goes these days, it's not that much time. So considering all of that, I'm really happy with it. I think that I like the song a lot.
Yeah.
I
So
hope
you give it a hallelujah.
if that's the kind of thing we were doing, yeah, I definitely would.
Absolutely.
I do think that the current KISS lineup, like if they did, obviously they'd probably do some stuff with arrangements or adding some more vocal stuff. But I think it would work. I mean, to hear Paul Stanley a lot of times, it's like, well, I could write the best song of my career, nobody would care. It's like it's too bad to hear that.
Yeah.
So
Well, again, we've said this before, you don't have to write a whole album's worth of material. Do what, like you said earlier, what the Crew did. Come out with one song and just have that as something fresh, and, that whole mindset that, especially a legacy band like Kiss, you have to put out a whole new album there's no reason to cling to that. So, Andy, you enjoy the final product?
Yeah, absolutely. I had very little to do with it. Again, I mean, I just played along.
Well,
to
that's
it.
not true.
But no, I mean, from a creative standpoint, it was all laid out, and I got to do my part on top of it. So, I'd like to say good job to Nick for putting it together, lyrically, musically, playing the drums, laying everything down, writing the whole song, and then we got to come in and spice it up. Nick's the steak, we're the spice.
the sizzle.
But we're the sizzle, but damn good steak, so good job. I give it a, not that we're voting, but I think let's put all three of our votes into one here, and you get one of these.
Yeah, and it was a pleasure to get to do it.
Good.
I mean, it really was, and again, it's not anything that you're gonna hear. You're not gonna actually hear it at a sporting event, but just the fact that I was able to this quickly accomplish something that I really enjoy how it came out.
It would be good.
That's a victory. So
it would be a good song for a sports team to latch onto when they're splitting town, like when the Rams went to L.A. or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're leaving. We're going to a
Packed
new
up
city.
in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
That was the Colts, but
So should we talk about the lyrics and how it pertains to Kiss?
Sure.
Or at least hypothetically.
Sure.
So, Chris, did you pretty much? Yeah, you pretty much got into what you believed it was.
yeah, it's just, to me, it's like it's a motivational rally the troops type thing, which, like I said, it's, I hear that type of thing. It's I think of these motivational speakers and these corporate gatherings that companies have to get their people riled up and everybody pulling in the same direction, so to speak.
So kind of basic Kiss fare.
Well,
as far
yeah,
as the
I
overall
mean,
theme, yeah.
that is a recurring theme in the Kiss catalog.
Andy, was there anything that stood out? Andy kind of might know a little more of the specifics. I think I was bouncing ideas off of him.
Like what it's about? Or?
Yeah, I mean, Chris pretty much is right, but there's a little bit of like a hypothetical fantasy kind of a thing to it too.
Oh,
a more specific kind of an angle.
Well, I think when we talked about it, you mentioned writing it from the perspective of someone at the beginning of their career, not necessarily at the end of their career.
And it kind of initially it's like, okay, we're doing this as sort of a Kiss thing, and so you're gonna kind of get into that Kiss mind frame, and like a lot of Paul Stanley specifically seems it's written from a perspective, a hypothetical perspective of maybe right now, or like the end of the road tour, like the last show or something like that, where you're looking back to the moment when you first things came together and it was Kiss, and then it's like, okay, we're so pumped right now, and we're so inspired, and we're so determined.
Yeah.
So it's kind of both. It's kind of a bookend, sort of a sentiment.
Right.
So it's I
very
mean
appropriate.
and that's pretty much it. It's a bit ruthless. So it's not a big kumbaya kind of a thing.
That's true. It's
I mean, it's got that aspect too, where it's like, okay, are you my guy? We're gonna
because if you're not, you're gone.
I'm gonna
no
do the
loyalty.
There's a bit of that. Yeah, I'm gonna do this anyway, which kind of Paul in the '80s. You can arguably say if Gene famously was not that present,
did it without him.
he's like, I'm gonna keep doing it, like whether you're here or not. But
Yeah.
I'm picking you to be the guy to come with me. So there's a little bit of it's not all rainbows and sunshine.
Right.
So that's So you guys are pretty much right, but there is a specific thing, and it's centered around a hypothetical Paul Stanley. So
I like it.
And a lot of the stuff you read from him or you hear about him, he's got that sort of determination and work ethic, where it's like I don't really care.
Yeah,
I don't care if somebody tries to take us down or discredit us or something like that. We're going to be more determined than they are.
Yeah, and including people in the circle.
Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well,
that's about that.
I think we should be proud of ourselves, and not only for this song, but for achieving our goal. I don't think we were as determined as the person in this song.
No, because that's the song is a dangerous determination.
Ours was like,
yeah.
Who's coming with me for a while until we get sick of this? And that's not how it ended up. We actually finished. We did all the Kiss songs, knocked them out, and now we're here. So where are we? That's the question, guys. Where are we?
I think I'm gonna listen to Chris because he's. I think he's gonna summarize this for us.
Yeah. So there's a lot of speculation on, are we gonna do the Kiss solo stuff? Are we gonna do another different band and do their whole catalog?
I've seen a lot of Van Halen requests, a lot of Motley Crue requests.
Those make sense. It would be interesting. There's like multiple different lineups, things to do there. You couldn't really. I mean, you could, but it wouldn't be super interesting. Well, now that I'm saying it, I was about to say AC/DC because there's not a lot of variation in the material, but you do have the Bon Scott, Brian Johnson eras, blah, blah, blah. Well, there's no reason to speculate about that anymore. We're not doing either of those directions. What you need to do is go to potofthunder.com, our website. Look up in the navigation bar. What you'll see there is a tab called Submit a Song. We are going to let the listeners be the random song generator of the podcast moving forward. So if you want to get involved, you go to potofthunder.com, you click on Submit a Song, fill out the form, hit send, and let us know what songs you would like us to do moving forward. It's going to be a listener participation thing in terms of the song selection. Like I said, you guys are going to be the random song generator for us moving forward. And how it's going to work is, so like the first one, Andy we haven't decided the order, so to speak, but let's say we'll go in this order. First one, Andy will pick it from the pile of submissions. Next week, Nick will pick from a song from the pile of submissions. Week after that, I will pick from the pile of submissions, and then the fourth week, it will be Andy
submitting
a song, picking the song for that week.
So not from the pile,
right?
From my brain.
And then we will go through the cycle again, and then the fourth week of that cycle, Nick will do the song. Third time through me, and then we'll go back through it again. Now I will say that listeners submitting songs, just because you submitted the song doesn't mean we're going to be locked into doing it again. It's not, we're not going to do it in the order they came in. Each week, whoever's picking the song from the pile that week will go through the list and pick the one he thinks is most interesting. Because I'm assuming we're going to get a lot of ELO songs and Genesis things suggested either internally or otherwise, and which is fine. It's completely open. Do what you want to do, but we're not gonna feel obligated to every song that comes in. It's gonna be what's most interesting to whoever's picking the song that week.
Yeah.
So that's how it's gonna work, kind of in a nutshell. I think the cool thing about this is the listener participation element of it. You know, I don't want to be at the podcast is just like, hey, we're awesome. Tune in and listen to us, and other than that, we don't want you to have any involvement here. You know. Yeah. Now, Jericho has cautioned us that you don't want the listeners to completely dictate the direction of the show, and I agree with that too. So I think this is a nice blend of the two sides of the coin, if you will.
Yeah.
So
there really are only two, aren't there?
I guess so.
Well, there's the edge, the serrated edge.
Well, it doesn't have the same ring to it.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't at all. So that's how we're going to do it, and we'll see what happens. But I'm pretty excited about it because I think we're going to be able to cast a wider net, talk about more bands, and hopefully attract fans of more bands that way. And me personally, I'm kind of looking forward to being exposed to some new music that I hadn't listened to before. Kind of like how some of the Kiss stuff that I'd never listened to, like Unmasked or the Paul Stanley solo album, became exposed to that on the show, and I ended up liking a lot of that very much. So,
and diehard Kiss fans, you figured out here, if you really want, you could submit all those solo album songs, and we might pick them. So. Yeah. Not necessarily the end of the road for anything related to Kiss. It's just opening everything up to whatever.
Exactly right. And you can submit as many songs as you want. If you want to flood the incoming email thing, that's fine. If you have that much time on your hands, go ahead. You know. But again, whoever's picking the song that week is gonna go through the list and pick the one that I think is most interesting, and that's it. So not every submission will be covered. We're hoping we get plenty that will carry us through a good long time in the future, but we did want to get the listeners involved, so to speak, to kind of, since we're losing the randomness of like, oh, I wonder what Kiss song is coming next week. We're losing that. We want to kind of keep that excitement level with like, oh, I submitted a song, maybe they'll pick mine this week and see what's coming up. So, and that was the thinking behind that. So we're going to do it that way, see how it works. Hopefully keep the momentum going and people enjoy it.
Yep.
So those instructions again.
There you go.
Go to podofthunder.com, PODOFTHUNDER.
Oh, that's how you. I was getting it wrong all this time.
I typed it in wrong.
I was the THUNDIR all this time. Got it.
Yes, exactly. Look up the navigation panel up top. Look at click on submit a song and send us your ideas, and we'll go from there. Now, I will say that I'm hoping we have to check in on his availability, but we do have the contest winner of the last song elimination challenge of the Kiss catalog, Mr. Jack Broad. He will be picking
the first song.
I'd like it to be the first. If we can't make it happen from an availability standpoint, he will be picking a song and guesting on the show. We can't guarantee, in fact, we won't guarantee that we're going to do that with everybody. It's logistically a pain in the ass. And I think when not everybody is in the same room, it kind of the dynamic isn't right. But we're going to be open to that a little bit more moving forward. So you might be asked to be on the show. Who knows? But we do have to give out the grand prize at some point, and he will be picking a song he wants to analyze with us, so that'll be cool.
And so you're basically saying that right now, submit the songs. It's not like there's
go ahead.
Yeah, let them.
Absolutely.
Actually, people have found that on their own. They've been coming in, so.
Okay.
It's been up for a while.
Yeah.
It's kind of a soft launch, as they call it in the industry.
Right.
But the instructions are there. By the time you hear this, within a day, I'll just put them up. We'll put them up on social media for everybody to have access to, and just send them on in, and we're gonna pick them one by one each week, and hopefully just continue to have fun with this thing. And that's I feel pretty good about the direction moving forward. I think it's the right way to go.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Should not be a drastic difference, I don't think.
No, we're
And-
still
and-
going to talk about stupid shit. We're going to talk about people that nobody knows outside of this room. And,
Yeah.
typically not a recipe for success,
Yeah.
but, we're going to do our thing.
We'll be
People seem to
talking-
enjoy it.
Me talking about probably the lady I saw driving through an intersection on New Year's Day, yelling at her phone so much that she had to remove it from her ear and hold it up.
Wow.
Yeah.
While she's driving.
All
through
I
the-
know is I don't know the circumstances, but I felt bad for that guy.
whoever was on the other end.
Yeah.
of
I
it.
feel bad for whoever she smashed into
Well,
later on down the road.
Thankfully that didn't happen that I know of, but yeah, man, she was shaking and yelling into the phone and had to hold it away from her ear and kind of held it held it up.
Disproportionate number of
I-
women yapping on their fucking phones while driving. I'm sorry, it's true.
Yeah, have you noticed that?
Yeah, just like you said, the phone visibly pressed up against the ear or right in front of their face, and they're barking into it.
I mean, it
I
was
don't see, when's the last time you saw a dude doing that? I mean, I'll see dudes like glancing down, looking at their phones, and probably texting while driving. But the actual speaking and or yelling into the phone is a woman thing.
well, it was New Year's Day and it was like
fucking yell
late
at me on
morning.
your cell phone.
It
Hope
was-
you fucking smash into a telephone pole. Fucking yelling at me.
Well, you know,
Ridiculous.
it had. I mean, the whole.
Ever heard of Bluetooth? Look into it. Jesus.
It was clear that this guy probably didn't do anything that bad the night before on New Year's Eve.
It's never that
but
bad. Quit
the way-
overreacting.
the way this woman was shaking and
Psycho.
yelling, you just felt bad for the guy.
Yeah.
He may have done something, he may not have, but yeah. I felt bad.
I feel bad about I feel bad about the guy for the guy if he didn't dump this woman immediately. It's like, I'm not going to sit here and take this.
Yeah, who
Yelling
listens
at me.
to that?
Yeah,
I
exactly.
don't know.
I don't
That's
care.
like she's barking at you on the telephone. That's when you come back with, what time is it?
Yeah.
Oh shit, I gotta go.
Yeah.
Right.
Sorry to cut you off, but I'm
Maybe-
running late.
maybe
Bye, click.
Maybe he tried a what time is it,
Yeah.
and that's the moment she moved the phone away from her ear so she can yell
So
directly.
don't you?
into it.
What time
Yeah.
is it? Me.
Exactly. I gotta head out. I'm gonna go fuck your sister. How's that?
She was in that moment thinking how she could most effectively use the pickup pattern, the acoustical pickup pattern of the microphone inside of the phone.
The most
Yeah.
volume into his ear.
Stupid.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
But this kind of discussion is what you will continue to get moving forward. People
Yeah.
seem to like it. We enjoy engaging in it. It's a nice release for us, and I think that's what people enjoy about the show. So we're going to keep it coming and see what happens.
Yeah.
If it's a failure, we'll just fucking pull the plug on it, and that'll be that.
Start a bowling team. Whatever.
Because we have accomplished what we set out to do. Everything else from here on out is just icing on the
It's
cake.
gravy,
right?
as they
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
And Andy's with a couple of Freudian sports slips today. He's wanting to be on a rugby team and a bowling team.
I got so many goals.
Any listeners in the area, Northwest
Yeah.
Indiana, want to have an opening on either.
Yeah. Who's coming with me?
Well, if you're going to get on a bowling team, get Kodal on the team.
Well,
Rolling 300 games like they're nothing.
I don't think I can get him. I don't have the money to put up.
Is he on the Rodney's team?
Yeah.
Exclusive contract.
Probably.
they're all the other bars in the area are trying to come up with better promotional nights,
Bigger.
just to get him to be a regular there.
Bigger ass beer night.
Big dick beer.
Yeah.
All All right.
Mark. All right.
So
There it is.
get to the website and get those songs coming in. I mean, I'm like I said, I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be cool to expose not only ourselves but everybody else to some different stuff, and I think it's gonna be cool. So we'll see.
No, I wanted to just real quick, because we actually didn't discuss this particular of it, and I guess it could all evolve and unfold as the series progresses. But are we open to live recordings at this point? Because I know that was a thing where it was for the Kiss songs, we covered the studio versions. We talked about the live versions, but we did not cover them.
My attitude is anything goes.
Okay.
Send it in. And then we decide what we want to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, bring it. More
No
R.
rules.
Kelly, send it. Ghetto Boys, send
Oh
it.
man.
Now I put on the website rock, hard rock, classic rock, metal preferred, just because that's in our wheelhouse. That's where our listeners are probably feeling. That's probably a better comfort zone for them and for us. But again, send it to us. Add it to the list. We'll look at it. If we think it's going to be funny or something interesting, we'll do it.
Yeah.
And we'll go from there. We don't want to piss off or alienate tons of our listeners. It's amazing we haven't accomplished that already, but
Yeah.
we're not gonna turn this into a 90s hip hop podcast, but
Right.
just hey, no restrictions at this point. Send us whatever. Send us as much as you want. That's a double-edged sword, but hopefully you're not a complete loser and you have the time to send us several hundred song suggestions. But
Yeah, be a little bit discriminant.
exactly. But yeah, let's get the listeners involved, generate the material, and then we'll put a show together.
And I don't know about you guys, but I've got at least 3 songs for when it's my turn to
Or you got some in your mind
come
already?
up with one. Yeah, and there's one that's not a hard rock song that the 3 of us we had talked about months ago, and it hasn't happened yet. So as far as the styles go, yeah, I mean it's going to mostly be rock, but there will be the occasional venturing into other territories.
When it's your wild card week, so to speak, you can pick whatever you want. It's your show,
Yeah.
your week. So
That's fun. No veto power from anyone.
0.
I like it. That's funny. So it could be some intention. Well, I wouldn't want to take it there, but it could be intentionally something to
fuck with
To fuck
another
with another
member
guy.
of the show, which could yield some entertaining results. So
Yeah, so
we'll see.
could happen. Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to it. You guys ready? Are we done for today? Are we closing the book on Pot of Thunder 1.0 right now?
I think so.
Yes.
Slam that book shut.
So, yep. New stuff coming next week in the next phase, and hopefully it'll be as successful and even more so than the first. So let's do this. Who's coming with us?